So fellas, I was making the shield for the, this is the Holly that's going on the LTD, and I noticed a little thing in there. I wondered what it was, and it turns out that is the hole that holds the, one of the bolts that hold the intake on, had a hole in the bottom of it. And I hadn't done anything with it, you know, so something to pay attention to if you have a little vacuum leak on a Holly, especially one of the older ones, because this was made in 99. Might be a spot to check. So I'm going to have my guy fix that up. I'm going to take this down and have him weld that up, put a hole over there, or put a hole, gob some welding material on there, aluminum, and have this tacked on good, and then I can put this on, and then we'll be making more progress. I got the front seat out of it. I was kind of on hold for a little while because of the hooking up all these wires, running them to a different spot. You know, it used to be over on that side where the alternator's there, but the starter solenoid, all that stuff was over there. I wanted it over here, so it looks a little better. It's just a whole bunch of wires and a little bit of space, so it ain't gonna look really good. But I got the frame in for the dash, got the heater box tightened up, and the some of the vents in. Got some new speakers up in there, speaker wires run. Vincent's gonna look, I have bought a new stereo for it too, so I'm gonna put this thing in. But Vincent's been good about finding stuff, so he's gonna look to see if he can find an adapter that'll go from that stereo to the LTD harness to save me the trouble of wiring it in. But you know, this thing has got a big old power seat that weighs 56 pounds. It's got 3 motors on the bottom of it. But apparently it was getting a little water in, so right here there was a connector, and it got water in it when I was sitting outside for like 3.5, 4 years, whatever it was, and it corroded, so it wasn't making connections. So once I finally did get power on, then the seat wouldn't move, and I couldn't figure out why. So I started digging around, I found it, so I got that fixed, got the seat moved. So the way it was way back, and I couldn't get the back 2 bolts out. So now I got the seat out. It's in the back of the wife mobile. I got to run that up to Defuniak this afternoon. But right now I got to go in and get showered because I'm supposed to meet the bride for lunch. So this is just an update. It's Friday afternoon, Memorial Day weekend, and this is where I'm at so far. All right, later, fellas. What's up, fellas? So today is Tuesday, May 31st, and over the weekend, I think the first part of this video, the first clip or whatever, was on Friday, a little bit after noon. I left here, picked up the bride, had lunch, and then I took her back to work, and then I went up to Defuniak with the seat and give it to PJ, and then he's gonna get that all fixed up. I got back here to Fort Walton. I took the intakes, the upper and lower intake for this, down to the welder guy on the south side of Fort Walton, and so he's gonna fix that up, and then by that time it was time to pick up the bride and bring her back home, and then spent the rest of the evening digging Brandon's stuff out that we carried over to him on Saturday. So Saturday we spent most of the day moving his stuff out of his apartment into his house, and then Sunday my old ass was wore out, so I didn't get up out of the chair too much on Saturday, and it was storming, whatnot, so I had some pretty good thunder boomers roll through. And then yesterday we were back over to Pensacola again, so didn't really get any progress on this until today. I'm working night shift this week, so been out here this morning. I got the stereo wired in, so I can, when I put that in, all I got to do is plug in the connector. And kind of a neat thing, probably in a nerdy way, is that the stereo wiring, they had, you know, the factory wiring, and then it had a audio box. I'm sure some of you older guys will know what that's about. Had an audio box stereo in it, AM FM with cassette, and I never used the cassette thing, but they had an adapter for it, so it went from the factory wiring to the audio box. And I had printed out all of the wiring from the factory and what it connected to on the new stereo wiring. Well, it turns out the adapter that they had from however long ago it was, has all the same color codes as the new stereo. And I was like, oh great, you know, finally something that's going to go smooth. So I got it all hooked up, and it went pretty good. So then I still got the wideband I got to wire in. That's this thing right here, and I have to figure out where I want to mount it, because there's a little light on it right there. It's supposed to give you like a fault code, or just show green if everything's working right and when it's warming up and yada yada. So I'm going to try to mount that somewhere so I can see it, at least. If not all the time, when I want to see it, I can, you know, peek up underneath the dash or whatever. And then I got the other seat out, rolled the carpet back. I got the trans-tunnel hump just kind of sitting there. Want to make sure the carpet will clear. Looks like I'll have to trim some of the carpet back and maybe pull some of the insulation off the back to get that to fit right. And then once I get it where everything's going to be kosher, then I'll tack that on, and then I can proceed with the rest of the stuff, putting everything else back together. And then Barry, the welder guy, should have my intake back, so I can at least this week put all the stuff back on the engine, and then double check my wiring, and then maybe fire it up. So, but that's depending on when all that stuff gets back. Everything else is kind of rolling, just painfully slow. But then once I get everything done with the wiring, I still got to fix the paint up here, this stuff, and then once all that's done, take it out of the garage, roll it around, and then spin it back in here, take the rear end out, put the traction lock in, and put the control arm reinforcement plates in that I got from it was a UMI a long time ago. So I still ain't done. I'm shooting for the end of June now. When we were at Dyno Day, Richard asked me, he says, so when do you think you have the LTD done? I was like, man, I'm hoping a couple more weeks, but I keep finding things I want to take care of or change, and it keeps adding to my timeline. But the objective is when it's done, when I pull it out, all the mechanical stuff will be done, and then it'll just be cosmetic stuff, which isn't terrible. I can live with cosmetic stuff for a while, but mechanical stuff ain't right, bugs me. So I'm gonna get all that done first, and then we'll be golden, I hope, knock on wood. So anyway, that's it for this week's update, and because I'm on nights this week, I hope to get more accomplished than I do working regular day shift. All right, appreciate y'all fellas. Later.